Hey guys, welcome back to the George and AJ podcast, where me and George discuss our past week usually, or our past couple of weeks usually, but we haven't been on this since October. So guys, we got a lot to catch up on, and I know that you guys have missed us a lot. Every time that I post a solo podcast, people are like, where the hell is George? Get him back on. Get George back. And he's always there. He's always there working away.
I'm always there.
Been busy with the YouTube videos and putting out plenty of content. It's just we haven't managed to hook up a time together. So we hadn't even planned this, to be honest. I literally just I'm on a rest day today. I'm not sure if George is training or not. But I just said, you got to spare 40 minutes today, mate. And that tends to be how we set things up.
Yeah, I was like, of course I've got free. Half an hour, 45 minutes. Of course I have. Always got time for the AJ. So
yeah, it's perfect. So essentially, what we'll do first off, guys, is as always, people tend to like, God knows why, people tend to like to hear what we've been up to and where we're at and what we're doing with things. So with plenty to catch up on, George, just like, what's been going on since like October time? I know that you've been in a surplus for all of that time, which is spot on. That's exactly what we wanted in terms of where you wanted to be at, especially coming into this year. But yeah, just give us a bit of an update as to how those months have gone within training, within nutrition, life, etc. Give us a bit of an update, mate.
Okay, so things are going good. Obviously, like you said, been in the surplus for since I don't even know, like September time.
When did you finish your diet? You finished your diet like just before I started mine, so I think August time you finished your diet?
I think it was late August. Late August time.
Yeah.
So I've been in the surplus since then, and I'm currently sitting at it varies between about 167, 170 pounds. Some days I wake up 170, some days I wake up 168. It's just, don't know, depending on what happens and stuff like that.
How much above the bottom of your diet is that?
That is 15 pounds.
Nice.
So
cool.
A nice little push up. Not too sloppy either.
No.
I'm starting to notice things starting to creep in regards to sleep quality, kind of appetite, digestion are starting to creep in, which I'm monitoring and changing and stuff like that. That's always what I do.
Yeah.
And things are going good. Like, I'm the strongest I've ever been on most movements. Like I've been posting a lot of my barbell bench press on Instagram because I'm
you want 8 at 100, don't you?
Yeah, because I've done. I remember posting a couple of months ago. I was on doing like 95 for like 4, and now I'm on like 100 for 7 now. So getting progressively stronger, progressively getting my food up. I think I'm currently at now. I'm not eating as much as what I used to when I was at uni because my expenditure now, I'm not even doing 5,000 steps a day. I'll be honest with you. I do my cardio on my rest days.
Good.
My expenditure some days is like 1,200 steps. It's really low. And I thought I would try and reduce as much as I can in regards to when it comes to prep. Because if I start on 10,000 steps, I'll be bollocks. You know what I mean?
10,000 not so bad.
Yeah.
Fucking 15 or 20,000, awful.
Still, obviously, external factors like people work and stuff like that. I totally understand that kind of side of things. But if you're just going for a walk like 3 times a day and just talking to Instagram, like, come on, man! Like, it's just too many steps. I think it's not a challenge here. Doing how many steps can you do in a day, especially when you're surplus. So what I found is reducing my steps, my output. Although I feel a little bit I could do more, I've been putting so much more into my training, and I found that it's just helped in regards to the recovery aspect. I'm not bloody walking around thinking, you know what, I've got to check my Fitbit, get 10,000 steps a day.
No.
So steps are really low, and my food is roughly just eating under 4,000 calories on a train day, and a rest day I'm on about 3.5. Obviously, when I was at uni, my steps were a lot higher. I was walking from uni every day and stuff like that. So the demand for me to eat much more isn't there. And I'm only 170 pounds. I don't need to eat like 5,000 calories. And
no, mate, that's for your body weight. That's fantastic food.
Yeah,
that's an amazing amount of food, to be honest. It sets you up so well.
So I'm happy about that. Spending good time with the missus, I'm kind of more now at the stage where I'm coming towards prep, and I thought, you know what, if I'm going to enjoy myself, I'm just going to enjoy myself. Like, I'm not too bothered.
Have a Pepe's.
Yeah, I have a Pepe's about 3 times a week right now.
Chicken
I'm not
rice.
bothered. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's only chicken and rice, but I'm not too bothered. Like, I won't track it, and I know what I'm eating every single day now, and I've kind of got to a stage where I'm not tracking it in my fitness power every single day because it does me head in sometimes. I'm just eating the same shit, if that makes sense. So that side of things, everything's good. Life is good. Stress is good. Happy with the business, the growth of that, especially over the new year. YouTube's going. It dipped throughout the Christmas period. I was a little bit upset about that, but slowly picking up again in the new year. Obviously, people start watching YouTube in the new year, and it's a busy time of year around Christmas, so I don't expect people to watch. But things are going good. I'm happy. Life's happy. Happy with the missus. Everything on that end is good.
Yeah.
Everything's good. So I'm happy.
How was Christmas? Did you just have a relatively sort of quiet one with family and friends
Yeah,
and stuff like that? Yours?
My family's quite small, so all we had is our nan round.
Okay.
I don't know any cousins or anything like that really. So
Okay.
we had our nan round. That was kind of nice to have a Christmas dinner.
Yeah.
Didn't see the missus because she works. She don't celebrate Christmas.
Okay.
So it's a little bit handy. I can save a little bit of money in that aspect. But I didn't see
You
her.
cheeky little shit.
Because she has to work over the Christmas period, so I couldn't really get to see her.
Okay.
I saw her on New Year's, and we kind of had a chilled New Year's together. Had a
Some
Pepe.
people thought your sister was your girlfriend.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm not even going to get into that. That's my most liked
Post.
like picture on on Instagram. I post so like bodybuilding stuff, no one cares. Post a picture of my sister or whatever, likes. Even post a selfie, get more likes. I don't get it. Like, I clearly know what I'm doing wrong here, and that's the bodybuilding side of things. Just post selfies and shit. And people in the comments as well, like thirsty people, like give me your sister's number and stuff. No, I'm not, you dickhead. They've never seen a girl before in their lives. But
no.
It's people for you. Quite funny. I had a little laugh about it, really.
I was really respectful with my comment, to be fair.
Oh yeah. Let's look back at. We won't even get into that.
Oh yeah, my comment on the New York one.
That got like 30 likes or something like that. Your comment, fuck's sake. Can't get away with that now.
And what about New Year, mate? Did you do anything for New Year? Didn't you go out? Did you go out? No.
We did. I went out for my mate's birthday the night before, the day before. Didn't really drink too much or anything like that. But me and Mrs. had quiet one in, had a Pepe as I did, and just nice, chilled.
Does your girlfriend drink at all? Like, does she drink
she does. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Not regularly. No, we rarely drink. But we have like one or two here and there, like a little gin, something like that, just to relax us and just enjoy it sometimes.
Take the edge off.
Yeah. We don't go crazy till we're like smashed out our heads, you know. But no,
it's not nice anyway.
Yeah, of course, yeah. It's horrible waking up next day and that, just like feeling like shit. So
yeah, no point. And what about so like coming into this year? Obviously, I think a few of the questions I actually got on Instagram are very interested in what your plans are competitively, because you haven't competed before. It will be your first season. People are interested to see how you're going to be approaching it. So what's sort of the general setup in terms of when you think you'll compete? Obviously, I kind of know when that will be. But in your head, what's your sort of plans? What's your maybe share your thoughts, like targets, and what you actually want to achieve within this year of being your first competitive season?
So I think there's a lot of pressure for me to. I've got a lot of pressure. Can't wait to see you look on stage. Can't wait for this. Can't wait for that. Which people have messaged me about, which I appreciate, obviously.
It's good.
But the pressure, like, I don't want to. I know I'm going to disappoint some people. People are going to look, actually, he ain't as big as what I thought. I know people are going to go, George, you're sick either way, stuff like that. But for me, my personal goal is just the experience. I just want to see what it's like. I've always wanted to compete. I just didn't know when. And I just want to see kind of where I'm standing. Where am I with like the juniors? I could be so far behind, or I could actually fit in quite comfortably. I don't care if I come first, second, third, or even last. I just want to know exactly where I'm at. And like I said, I know I'm not going to be the biggest. Definitely, like from seeing the juniors last year's and the ones which you've coached, I'm far from some of them. But I just want to see and showcase something different, which I've never done before, and test myself, because it's all good going up in body weight, coming back down, looking quite lean, but I've never got to that stage of, right, this is extremely lean, my glutes are, like, I'm sitting down and it's hurting me. I've never got to that stage. I've got close, but not to that stage. And I just want to see what I can do with that, really, and enjoy it.
Yeah, mate, I'm going to tell you one thing for certain. There's very, very few people at your age or any age that have your level of dedication to what you do. So that is step one. You're ahead of some people. I guarantee you that. Like me and Lewis Rossi talk about this all the time. All the time we talk about this when we meet up. It's like very few have the rate of consistency and work ethic that, you know, people in our circle do, and obviously there's plenty of people out there that do have that kind of work ethic. But I just know that there's people even at the top of the sport that do really well that just haven't got what we have.
Yeah.
But genetically they're potentially endowed in a bit of a more positive limelight. The people at the top that can get away with that.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people that just won't put in the work, won't turn up in shape. Especially in the junior class, especially when it's first time competitors, a lot of them don't even realise what the standards are like, and a lot of them, from a coaching perspective, won't have someone who knows what is required to get on stage.
Definitely.
And ultimately, you need someone that's going to not let you step on stage until you are fully ready. Which of course will, in your corner, will be absolutely fine.
Definitely.
But yeah, I think, mate, honestly, you don't need to worry or put pressure on yourself, because there's no point. If anything, the pressure externally from like your followers and people online is actually just like a good thing, because they want to. Most of them, not the dickheads, but most of them will just want to see you do well. So
definitely,
that support should just make you want to just work your absolute arse off, which you're going to have to do.
100%.
So yeah, I think the support is a good thing. And when it gets tough as well, like you'll have, if you have that one tough day and you post about it, and you don't post about every single day being tough, you'll be able to get support in that moment, which is great.
Of course,
because I very rarely, when I was prepping, said, "Oh, today was shit. I had a shit day." But when I did, like once or twice, people would reach out and sort of just motivate me to continue moving forwards, which is a very good thing.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. I totally agree. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It should be good. And hopefully we can kind of talk through dates. And I've got a date. Obviously, we've got a date in mind. But hopefully am I coming up still 20th? That's all still good.
You are indeed.
Shit happens. We'll go through it a little bit more, and then I can get some real clear idea in regards to what we need to do and stuff like that. But no, all in all, looking forward to it, and just can't wait to get started. A little bit nervous, but fuck it, go on, challenge
You've got to
yourself.
have some nervous, mate. You've got to have some nervous, because that shows you care. Shows you care. Ultimately, nervousness is great. It's a great tool to put a lot of passion and care into something.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Definitely.
So yeah, if anyone didn't catch that, George is going to come up, spend some time, a little bit of time in Birmingham, get a couple of training sessions in, get some food in whilst we still can. And then obviously I'm going to have see George in person in terms of just posing, physique, see where we're at with regards to body composition, etc. In ultimates, very honest lighting. There's no half natty lighting in ultimate, so it'll be wicked to do that. And then we'll go from there with start dates. But we pretty much think that it will be towards the end of the season, because strategically that always works out better. Not only do you have more time, but you also, the aim will be for you, mate, to definitely qualify for a British final. And with that being said, if you qualify at a later qualifier, you have a shorter time gap between your qualifier and the British. Therefore, essentially, you have a little bit of time to improve, but not enough time to have this weird "what the fuck do I do" stage, which is always poor for competitors. It just either ruins them, or it can make people a lot better, but it can also make people a lot fucking worse. So,
definitely.
Yeah, that'll be the initial plan.
Yeah, that's my plan. So how about you, mate? How's things? How's life? What you been up to? Obviously, I pretty much know anyway, but for the people that don't know.
Yeah.
I
mean, it's been mad, to be honest, mate. It's just, I don't think I've sat still at all over the last 3 months. I've just been all over the place. So obviously, just before I went to New York, training was really, really good. However, I was mighty overreached and ended up getting that exertion headache thing. So just before New York, I basically took 5 days off, and then obviously didn't train at all when I was in New York, and ate a load of food. So to be fair, after I came back from New York, I looked like an absolute trash can. I looked awful. I was fatter than I was before I went to New York, and also detrained. So I just looked horrendous.
How much did you gain in New York?
I gained 5 pounds.
Oh, not too bad, but
well, it is bad considering I was walking so much, mate. I was eating a lot. But the thing is, about 3 pounds of that, 3 pounds of that came off very quick. And then, so I'd say I'd gained about 2 pounds of fat. But the reality is, mate, even when you're walking the amount of steps, if you're not training and you're eating like the calorie dense items I was eating, you're going to gain weight.
Of course.
So yeah, I don't have any regrets about gaining that amount of weight. And if anything, I was a little slow on my phase where I was coming out of the diet that sort of ended like late October.
Yeah.
September time, I was a little slow coming out of that. So if anything, I needed a little nudge in the right direction. So
Yeah.
now I got rid of most of that weight by just basically coming into maintenance over the Christmas period. And over the Christmas period, actually training was really good, if I'm honest. I managed to get in, because I was so rested from New York, and I managed to get my head better, touch wood. I was smashing out sessions, hit some really good numbers. I wasn't detrained as detrained as I thought I would be on some of the compound movements, because a lot of the things that you need to consider when you take extended time off the gym, not a deload, is that the neurological adaptations at play are large. So coming back to a movement you've not done in a while is going to be a huge shock to your system. So I initially, luckily because of trying to get my head better as well, I slowly ramped up training instead of going straight back in. So I ramped up my sumos, I ramped up my squats, all my bigger movements that require a lot of sort of patterning, ramped those up nice and steadily. And I think that break actually did me a load of favours, because I sort of came into a nice surge of a couple of PBs just before Christmas. And they just all felt good. But besides that, I think I could have hit even better numbers if I hadn't been travelling all over the place. Like Christmas and New Year has been awesome, because just been able to travel around with Danny, spend a lot of time with her, see all of her family, spend time with my family. Yeah, awesome. So a great Christmas, comparative to obviously last Christmas being a pretty difficult one for me. This one was just amazing, mate. Couldn't complain at all. And then literally just got back into routine now. So normal days, normal waking up time, normal bedtime, sleeping properly. I made a huge, oh my God, I haven't told you this, but yeah, man, I made a huge fucking error. Huge error, and I'm still hoping that I get it back. But basically, we got a very late train from Brighton all the way back up to Birmingham. On the train, I had all my stuff, like my expensive stuff, luckily, my camera, my laptop and everything, my clothes in a big bag. And then I had my gym bag with my belt, my knee sleeves, both knee sleeves, SBD and the Strength Shop ones, all my wraps, all my logbooks. And I put it like hidden away on the train. Got off the train because it was so late, and I slept, which was the worst mistake. So I woke up, just grabbed my bag with my laptop on it, and I left all of my gym kit on the train, and I haven't got it back yet. And I've called every lost property bit to try and get it back. Hopefully at some point it will come through. I'm pretty sure it will, because I don't know why anyone would nick that. But hopefully at some point it will come through. But it's not the end of the world, mate, because all of the stuff is replaceable. I can get it all again. It's not like the end of the world. It would have been like, mate, basically I usually keep my Sony camera in there. So if I'd have left that, I'd have been a little more annoyed, because that's like just under $1,000's worth of camera. But
definitely.
it's just a little bit frustrating. So I was trying to hold myself together when I did that, because I was like, it's, you know, when you do something yourself and you're like, why the hell did I do that? You're not annoyed at anyone. You can't take it out on anyone. You're just spending the whole day taking it out on yourself. So I was beating myself up about that, but there's no need, because I can just replace the items. If anything, about 4 of the things that were in there, I needed new ones of anyway, because I'm the type of guy, and I'm sure you're the same, that when you buy something, you buy the quality one, and you just use it forever. So like your laptop, you've invested in a Mac as well. That will last you forever. You know, it might have a few issues with it, but it'll last you for a long time. So I'm the same. So I've had a lot of those things in that bag for like 4 years. But I do hope I get it back at some point.
Of course, I'm
sure I will.
Yeah, of course, especially like the logbooks and stuff like that. That's
the logbooks, and there's a pair of Converse in there that I got in Los Angeles when I went in February, and they're from like a thrift shop. So they're like I can't get them anywhere else. They're torn to shit. I can't wear them outside if it rains because they leak. So they're awful shoes, but they have sentimental value.
Of course, definitely.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But mate, it could be so much worse. Like there's so much worse things that can happen in life. And if anyone's listening to this, I want you to understand that that's annoying, but put it in a bit of perspective and think, okay, like is there worse things that could happen than just losing a gym bag with some gym kit in it? Absolutely. Definitely. So much worse things that could happen than that. So if anything, when shit happens like that, I just try and have a bit of gratitude and just think, there's a lot worse that could happen than that. At least I'm got a roof over my head, I'm safe and well, and all that jazz is all good.
Definitely.
Outside of that, so like I said, back into normal routine. This January craze of New Year, New Me kind of jazz is mental. I've had a lot of inquiries for coaching. Obviously, with capping, I do cap my services. So I've also imagined that all the people that, for example, like yourself and a few others that have said, I'll start here in January, here in January. I've taken all of those into account. So my coaching business is now pretty much set up for the rest of the year, provided that people stay on, which is great. And that the reason why I cap is because I want that. Like I want to take people on board for a long time. I don't just want to take everyone on board and then not be able to actually get results with these people because I'm not allowed to sort of communicate as much as I want to, and do things like meeting up with people and seeing them, and you lose all of that when you start to bite off more than you can chew. And I see that with quite a few coaches. They just try and bite off more than they can chew. And I've done it. I've been greedy with coaching in the past. It just doesn't pay off. But it's nice to see that a lot of people are putting trust in me. And
definitely,
I will prove myself. I promise, to people listening, I will prove myself even more this year than I did last year. I learned so much last year, and there was definitely mistakes that I made with regards to some of the people that I coached. And they fucking they wake me up at night. I hate those kind of things. I think a few of my guys could have looked better.
Yeah.
Not maybe because of me, but more so because I committed to coaching them when I simply didn't have enough time with them. So we were on a time constraint, and the time didn't add up for the result that we wanted. So I did my best with everyone that I could. But there are a few things that I could have probably done a bit differently, which is fine.
Definitely.
Which is fine.
Yeah, I understand.
Everything's a learning lesson, so I'll take those and I'll apply them all to next year. This year. And put some really good physiques on stage, some winning physiques for sure. We've got a really cool team of athletes this year, so it's looking really, really good. And more people than ever, and I tell you this with sign-ups, more people than ever are actually starting to commit to long-term goals. So I've had a lot of people say, I want to compete in 2020, but I want to start working with you now. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Those kind of things are wicked. Because very few on their own, like I said to you about very few do the work, very few on their own can put in the consistency and work that you do. Like your off season, me following it on YouTube and things like that, I still watch every one of your videos. I've got to watch the latest one of the full day of peak bulk. So very few do that. Most fall off at some point and don't need level accountability to sort of be able to make progress. So that's good, which is definitely great news. And then final couple of things like travel and stuff. I've got the Jordan Peters first seminar of the year. They were doing, they released all the dates. So they released some of the dates, and then when they released the first ones, I was like, right, just buy straight away. So I bought the first ones that came out, which is in Scunthorpe or something.
Yeah, that's it. I looked at that. And I was like,
so me and Danny are going to that one, and then a week later they released one at Iron Athlete in Rotherham, and I was like, for fuck's sake, it's literally 5 minutes from Danny's house.
Yeah.
So, but it's all right. We'll go on a road trip to Scunthorpe. Yeah. So any listeners that live in Scunthorpe, let us know what it's like.
Doesn't sound nice from the name, but there we go.
So I've got that. Not this weekend, but the weekend after.
Yeah.
Then the weekend after that, you're coming down. And then in early Feb, we've got the Ultimate Coach Seminar with Revive Stronger. That is sold out. So that will be wicked. And thank you for anyone who's listening who supported that. And then in the weekend after that, me and Danny are going to Vienna. That was pretty much like my Christmas gift kind of thing to Danny. So we are going to Vienna to not only see Vienna this time, but also to obviously go back to Das Gym and train with Kevin, Valentin, and just have a good couple of days up there. So that'll be wicked.
Brilliant.
And then besides that, it will be hammering down with getting people ready for shows. So
Brilliant.
It rolls around very fast. It feels like yesterday that I was prepping people for last year's shows and starting their preps. So
it comes around quickly, the seasons. It does.
It does.
Like that period of Christmas and stuff like that, it just goes.
Before we know it, me and Danny will be prepping. And then
the seasons
really...
go quick, they do.
Yeah,
good.
So
I'm
that's
glad.
an update on where I'm at. But most things going well. And I learned a lot this off season as well. Like 2018 off season, I learned a lot as to sort of what to do, how to plan things out. Like my goals this year is to I've pretty much caught up or beaten most of my lifetime best lifts.
Yeah.
And that should equal lifetime most amount of muscle, because that's just the way things work. But the goal for 2019 is to just surpass all of those things by a fucking long shot. Really, really start shitting all over all my previous PBs. Because that's something that I'll need to do to look drastically different in 2020.
Of course.
I'd like to take my body weight up beyond where I've gone before as well, because I haven't done that yet. I hit 184 before I started my diet, but I've been there before. I was 184 before I started my 2017 contest prep, so I know it will look sloppy as hell, but I want to hit 190 this year. I want to get 190 ticked off. It will look sloppy. My face will look horrendous. It will look so fat and chubby. Hopefully, I'll be able to get some sort of beard growth by then. I doubt it. The way the last year went, definitely won't. I'll just have this peanut moustache for the rest of the year. This is my lame attempt. But maybe I could get a makeshift one, a fake one. I'll cover the fat face. I'll look fairly sloppy at 190, but I'll also be incredibly strong on quite a few things. So especially pressing, I think my pressing will just skyrocket if I have that amount of body weight on me. And at least I'll look really big in hoodies and things like that. So we'll see. But that's the goal.
I think. Happy
Yeah.
days. Yeah, I've always said in regards to that. I've always said you need to get comfortable with looking uncomfortable. You make your best progress being really uncomfortable by I made when I was my highest. I got to 183 pounds, and I was I could bench press 110 for 5. I can't even do. I'm nowhere near that now. And that's just through body. I'm close to it. I'm 15 pounds off that or whatever now, and I'm near I could do 110 for probably 1 or 2 now, or maybe 3 if I can push it. But
you know the incline hammer strength.
Yeah,
I did that yesterday. I hit with the best execution I've ever hit. I hit 3.5 plates per side for 6.
That's fucking.
That's
strong.
Pretty good. But I really would like 4 on that piece.
Yeah,
at some
it
point.
looks good
I think
as well.
With more body weight behind me, I can get 4. I've got 3.5 before, definitely. I think I got 4 or 5 reps, but the form was awful because it was second movement in anyway. It was first movement yesterday with Josh, and that felt really good as well. You know when you nail it and you don't allow your elbows to travel out like this, because it's quite easy to track down, keep all the tension in your pecs, and then use this stretch reflex here, which is just putting a load of pressure on your rotator cuffs.
Yeah.
So if you're not watching on video, by the way, you won't be able to see, guys. But essentially, I'm just rotating my shoulder back. I was managing to track my elbows down like this, and it just keeps tension here. Josh, on the other hand, did 4.5 plates per side for 8.
8. Wow.
8. I was like, mate. Honestly, I think you could have got 5 plates per side, which is mad. The ultimate plates are a bit lighter though. They are lighter, so I think by about maybe 5 kilos total. So they are a bit lighter because every time I go to Ultraflex and I use the Body Power black plates, I'm like, holy shit, this is way heavier. Also, incline like hammer strength, they're all different. They all feel different. Like when you go to a different gym and like you use a new one, the new ones feel different to an old one. The old ones feel different to, like, it's really odd. It's why, like, sometimes I look at the way, like, Steve Hall programs, for example, very similar movements in a very basic gym. It's like, that's beneficial because at least he knows exactly how he's progressing. But yeah, like, personally, I was actually, like, thinking about it the other day. I saw one of Steve's posts. I'm going to voice note him later about it. It's like, the way that he sometimes trains and overloads, and I know he'll listen to this, so he doesn't mind us talking about it. I'd find it really difficult to do, like, the amount of sets that he does on one exercise. Like yesterday, I think he was doing like 5 or 6 sets of an EZ bar row. I just can't, like, I don't think psychologically I could handle that. But it's interesting to see because obviously Steve must enjoy his training because he adheres to it fine.
Of course.
But there would be a point at which in those overreaching phases where I'd just be like, fuck picking up this EZ bar row again. Like, can I not do like a dual dumbbell row or something like that to just like get to another stimulus? But you know, ultimately he's progressing up volume. How would you find that? Would you be the same? Would you like, you know, more variety across your session as opposed to sort of sticking with the same movement?
I've always, back in the day when I first started, I would do my usual 4 or 5 sets on a particular movement. But as I mean, at the end of the day, there's no wrong or right way of doing things.
No, absolutely not.
Like, if that works for Steve, then brilliant. Like, if he's progressing well, fucking
it is working for him. I think he's looking fantastic, to be honest.
Yeah, he is. And if anyone's watching and does 4 or 5 sets on one exercise, if it's working, fucking keep doing it. Don't because I don't agree with it, or I don't personally do it. Doesn't mean I'm right, because there's no right way about it. But myself, I definitely, like, for example, when we're speaking about, I was doing the EZ row and then I was doing the T-bar. I like having to do 2 different sets. You told me to do 4 sets of just the T-bar. I don't like doing 4 sets because I know I'm the type of person that, I mean, I'll give it everything I've got in 2 sets, but I always find if I do 4 sets, I'm having to drop the weight drastically in the last 2, the third or 4th set, just to kind of, you know, complete the rep range I'm trying to achieve. And I don't personally like that. Like, I personally just like 2 or 3 sets, give it all, and move on to something else that hit a different angle. That's me personally, but it's not wrong. Right? It's just how I like to do my own training.
You know what? I think there's a lot of individuality on this because if you look at, so even taking Steve again as an example, if you look at his background in, like, he used to do like a lot of long distance running before he got his injury, and if you then consider the amount of sort of like muscle fibers that he would have been using in that process, in the initial process before he even started weight training, those kind of fibers are going to cross transfer nicely into more. Into his ability to keep doing volume across a given exercise for a given rep range. Most people will see some drop off. So if you're someone that's listening that does like 4 sets, if you do 4 sets and they're all with the same weight, with the same reps, fantastic. Unless your last set is hard, you're not training hard whatsoever. Because if you're able to or you're resting for like a crazy amount of time, because you're not usually able to maintain same weight, same reps across all sets without some intensity of effort. You know, your intensity of effort has to be there, and therefore you'll see some drop off. But for me, I've since changing sort of my approach to, and Danny likes this in terms of her way of training as well, like more exercise variety, so different angles, different ranges, etc., different profiles. More with a better stretch on this one, a better sort of contraction on this one, etc. And then again, just the 2 sets with 2 different rep ranges. I've just found like my focus and my intent in sessions is so much better, and I'm not feel stale or any contractions at all. Like everything feels good, which I think is huge in training. Like if it doesn't feel good anymore, then why are you doing more of it? You know, if you can't feel the exercise working the target muscle group, then why are you doing it? Like question yourself. Like if you've put in your program 4 sets, but by the 3rd set you've lost contraction, you've lost the feeling that the exercise is trying to bring you, then that's a sign that you need to probably reduce your workload or but maybe take longer rest periods, but probably reduce your workload or use another movement. And it's the same with training with Josh. Like, even on a low, like for example, yesterday's push session for me was actually a bit lower volume than I usually do.
Yeah.
But for Josh, we pretty much did his program with a little bit more than he'd usually do, and he was not gassed physically, but like from an output perspective, he wasn't able. So on the first few movements, so the high incline dumbbell press, the incline hammer, the dip, he was able to beat me on both the big compounds, of course.
Yeah.
Dip, he was beating me because he's heavier. And then when we went onto the line cuff lateral, he was ahead of me on that. But then by the time we got to the flies and the triceps, we're pretty much all matched because his output has just gone down considerably.
Definitely.
So it shows that definitely to some degree, as you get stronger, your volume's obviously going to have to come down because Josh's first few movements were stronger than mine. So therefore, he's got more accumulated fatigue by the time he gets to his isolations.
Definitely.
But I always find it interesting. Funnily enough, the first session we did was a leg session, and he came down to Brighton and did it. And at that point, he was coached by Jordan Peters, and his sessions were so like really, really low volume. And he came into one of my sessions, and by that point, I was like, my volume was fucking crazy, like crazy high. It was like 2.5 hours session, and we really didn't stop. Squats and deadlifts in the same session too. And he was a broken man after that session. I remember like after the deadlifts, he was done because I did like 4 sets of squats, 3 sets of deadlifts, 3 sets of hacks, 3 or 4 sets of hip thrusts, leg press, 1 set of lunge, leg extension, leg curl, abductor, adductor, and calves. Like the session was ridiculous. I don't even do sessions like that anymore because they are so brutal. But I'd worked myself up to be able to handle that.
Definitely.
Using obviously fatigue management in the session and things like that. But I do find it very interesting, and hence why, if you're coaching and watching this, then having an awareness of what your client can recover from in the different phases that they're in. So, for example, if they're in a mini cut, their volume is going to be far lower than someone in a hypertrophy phase when their calories are high. It's just a given. If you try and get someone to mini cut on the same volume, then you're probably going to start to see feedback coming from them that they're significantly more sore, losing strength quite fast, or general motivation to train is going down. And I've tried that in the past, like keeping training volume fairly similar in a mini cut, and it usually ends up just feedback coming through that they need deload sooner. They're feeling like beaten up, so I just have to taper their volume.
Definitely. But I think it's about being smart as well. Like back to me yesterday, I planned 3 sets of barbell bench press, and I did 2 sets, and I was like, no, that's it. I don't need the extra set, because have you ever done a set where you've planned to get 10 reps in your head using this weight, but then you get like 6, and then afterwards you think, I shouldn't have fucking done that. It's just all about being, it's definitely on that side of things, just being smart. If you've given, like I on the barbell bench press, I think I got 8 and 6. I was like, no more, because if I dropped it down to 90 and was aiming for whatever I wanted to get, I know from those 2 sets I'd done, I was like, that's it, I'm done. And I think it's about being smart. And because what we always do is if we go to different gyms and stuff like that, people always want to do a little bit more sets, a little bit more. We do 4 sets on 3 sets on this. But you'll find that it will bite you on the arse in regards
especially on the bench press, right? Like when you hit the wall on bench press, it's game over. It's game over. It's the same on the dip. I can't do any more than 2 sets on the dip because. And do you find on the dip when you're warming up, even when you start with body weight, you're like, holy shit, this is heavy. And then you add the 20 kilo plate, and then you're like, fucking hell, my god, this is really heavy. And then like my top set at the moment is 40 kilos, and yesterday I got 6. The weeks before that I got 5 and 5. And to get past that 5th, I was like, holy hell, like. You have to be really careful with your breathing on that as well, because your face does feel like it's going to explode because the amount of pressure you're trying to exert, and it's all through your up here into your traps, into your neck. You have to be really careful. So
the best thing I did with that is I just thought, I did a body weight for a couple of warm up reps. And I just grabbed the 35 kilo dumbbell, and I
Ah,
just went from there. And my progress from that, I was stuck at 25.
okay.
This was about 2 months ago, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to pick up a different weight.
Yeah.
And I was quite surprised because
Yeah.
I followed a lot of JP stuff in regards to warm up sets. He does like 6 warm up sets before. I've actually cut that down to about 3 or 4 now. And
Yeah.
what I found is that I've just gone from, let's say, if I was doing like dip, for example, I would miss out completely. This is my 4th exercise deep. I'm pretty much warm, I'm sure. I don't need to do 5 or 6 warm up sets to my working weight.
No.
I thought to pick up a 35 kilo dumbbell, and I was quite surprised and blown away with how much I've actually been able to progress just by taking away those warm up sets, especially when it's 4th exercise deep. If it was first exercise, it would be a little bit different. I'd warm up a little bit more. But when it's 4th exercise and I've already done a lot of pressing beforehand, I get straight into it, and I'm like, bam, my progress has been a lot better.
And it is really interesting that, like, I totally agree in the sense that you think it's going to feel much harder than, like, with a 10 kilo increment more, but it actually still moves, and you're surprised. Like, I think the next jump I'll make, I'll literally add 10 kilos. Like, once I nail plus 40 for like 8, or it really starts stalling, then I'll probably add like 5 kilos and just go for it. I may even add 10 and just see what happens. I may just like hit the floor, but ultimately I think that, you know, you can really just ramp up that movement and see where it takes you. Obviously there's going to be a wall and there's going to be a ceiling, but I want to get a 3-plate dip this year as well for like good reps, so I better hurry up if I want that. Better
just make sure you don't
bloody better dipping belt as well, because the one at Ultimate keeps hitting me in the foot.
Yeah, just make sure you don't drop the plate on your foot again.
Yeah, exactly. That hurts so much.
Yeah, I see you like kind of put your other foot on to your other foot, and you're trying to like see if it was hurting or not, and then luckily it was all right. I noticed that. I was like, oh shit, that looks painful.
I took my shoes off as well afterwards. I was like, ooh, that's gonna bruise in the morning. The thing is, I was wearing my Vibrams as well. And my toe was like swelling up, so it was like squeezing out the Vibrams. I was like, ooh, no, this is not a good situation. I'm quite liking like actually just training like barefoot if and when I can, to be honest. At the moment, I quite like that. Quite like the feeling of just having like feet, especially on presses, even presses. Like, I find it difficult when I see like Thorburn like squatting in like LeBrons and things like that, and doing like pressing in LeBrons and things like, 'cause they're so thick. Like, how do you stay connected to the floor? But
definitely. I always take, I always take my shoes off. Actually, for my leg days, I bought a pair of Vans, and I'm real. Like, my gym owner Gav, he wears Vans. He told me to buy some, and I feel like 10 times better wearing just Vans now. Just a solid platform, not too thick, just nice and comfortable. Bam, I felt great. Instead of barefoot. Sometimes don't get me wrong, I don't mind barefoot, but a little bit of a platform, especially when it comes to squatting and stuff like that. I personally like a little bit of a platform myself instead of just completely barefoot. But that was, I totally agree.
So is there any? Did you put up a post question or did you just share mine? What did you do?
I put mine up, but I did it like 20 minutes before we.
I haven't got too many because I only put it up like 30 minutes ago. Let's see if there's any good ones we can cover. 6, wow, Jesus Christ, we're at 50 minutes, mate.
I've got 11, so not too bad actually.
Jeez, that's pretty good, mate.
I'll start. Jay.
Go for it. I've got about 10 here. I'll pick up a few that look alright.
Oh god, I clicked on it. Fuck, didn't mean that. J underscore. Me and names are bloody terrible. You know you are, mate. Any advice for teen bodybuilding?
Don't compete.
Yeah, I knew that would be what you did.
Don't compete until like your last year as a teen, because like at the rate that the teens are progressing, like you've got to actually be a genetic freak to win. Like there's some of the teenagers out there that could like win junior shows.
Oh yeah, of course.
So, I think just wait, just be really patient with regards to competing, with regards to dieting and obviously where you're going to be pushing up your body weight. Be very confident in pushing up your body weight, because even like if you follow the scheduled like £1 to £2 a month or something like that, you won't grow as effectively as you can do. Like I've seen some teens like put on like 30-35 pounds and like look in pretty similar condition, like over the course of like a year or something like that. Because your propensity to grow, especially if your training age is low, is just ginormous. So just be really confident in pushing up your body weight. Obviously, don't get stupid fat, but be prepared to like get a little bit softer than other people that you're seeing online. Like, don't compare yourself to someone who's super experienced, because their off-season condition will look different to yours because of their muscle mass. So people with more muscle mass will always look leaner in their off seasons than you. So you're just going to have to get a little bit softer to get a bit stronger. Get all your lifts up, like just progress every single basic lift you can progress. And that will have you with like a really good basis to start potentially dieting from. But don't diet until you've got all your lifts to a respectable level. You've pushed your food up well, you've pushed your body weight up well, you've spent a little bit of time getting a little bit fluffy and a little bit, soft around the edges, and then go from there. But yeah, definitely don't try and keep your abs year round or anything like that. But
No,
just focus on getting strong and eating enough progressively to whack on some good tissue.
Yeah. And what I've done as well, what I wish I'd done a lot more, is less focus on that fucking scale weight.
Yeah.
I weigh myself, especially in the circus now, I weigh myself like twice a week. Like, as long as it's going up at a steady rate, I don't care if I'm like a pound or two lighter yesterday or a pound or two heavier today.
Yeah.
As long as it's going up on my averages, which I always recommend tracking your averages, and just see if that goes up consistently. And if it is at a good steady rate, brilliant. Like, it should be your last thought. Focus on, like we always say, the internal factors, like how we're feeling, how we're training, what we're looking like. If you start only getting a little bit podgier, perhaps bring it back a little bit, instead of just focusing. Like, don't let that scale weight determine your day, and that's what I used to do all the fucking time.
If performance is in line with body composition, you're good. So if your body composition isn't too sloppy, but your performance is going up, keep doing what you're doing. Just keep
100%.
doing what you're doing, and you just will come out the other end with tissue. It's just inevitable.
100%.
It has to happen.
And just relentless patience and consistency to finish off. That's what you need. That's one of the biggest parts for me.
Absolutely. Liam asked a really good question. So Liam Bygott, who I had on the podcast, is an Australian bodybuilder, very successful bodybuilder as well.
Yeah, I watched that one actually. Yeah.
He asked about, do you feel like there's an optimal frequency to be squatting or deadlifting, or similar, like lower back loading weekly? So what's your thoughts on this? Like, for example, I know you don't deadlift at the moment, but lower back loading for you, what's your sort of general thoughts on like trying to fit in a squat and maybe like an RDL and things like that? What's worked for you in the past?
So it's all about, I'll get feedback from my training, my recovery. I always find, we spoke about this before, people's recovery capabilities in regards to lower back loading. It's going to be a lot. So there's going to be genetic freak weirdos that be able to squat like 3-4 times a week and be totally fine.
Yeah.
Give that to me, I'll be fucked. So I always kind of ensure that I will kind of lower back load. Again, I'll have a rotation of my barbell back squat, but I'll make sure that within my back session or my pulling session, I won't be lower back loading within that session.
Yeah.
And then next rotation, if I'm lower back loading in my pull back session, I won't be lower back loading in my leg session.
Yeah.
And I found that's worked a lot better, because I try to lower back load in every pull session, and it would just ruin my lower back for my leg session. There's nothing worse than having a tight back when you're trying to train legs and you're hobbling about, kind of can't fucking walk. So it's all about feedback, finding what works best for you. Try things, trial and error. Try it 3 times a week. Try squatting and deadlifting the same week. If it don't work, you find that you're actually getting injured and you're taking 2 steps backwards, progress isn't good. Change it. If it's going really well, just monitor it. If you can do a little bit more, try a little bit more. If you can get away with doing a little bit less, do a little bit less. That's my general thought process about it. You?
Yeah, I agree with that sort of analysis of how we take on board data. In terms of what I've found with squatting and deadlifting, I've been able to get away with doing both in a week. So in a microcycle, I've been able to get away with both. But I've had to be very cautious with what I do outside of those 2 lifts. So if I really want to drive up my squat and my deadlift, sometimes I found that I can get the deadlift in on a pull day, but I have found that does tend to affect preceding movements in terms of just generally feeling pretty beaten up. If I do a deadlift on a pull day, I'd like to see it like just 2 sets only. That is it. That is what I can get away with and still be able to do my pull movements effectively. I've also tried obviously deadlifting from a sumo variation, which is more adductor, hamstring, glute, etc. And maybe not more hamstring, but definitely more glute and more adductor than a conventional. And slightly less lower back loading, I've found. I found my lower back just recovers really fine from sumo, so I can pretty much do sumos and squat the next day and be okay. So sumo wise, I know that you sumo pull a few times, Liam. I know that I've actually seen you sumo pull a lot. I've seen you conventional pull as well. But if you're sumoing, I think you can get in more sumo just because the way the range works for the sumo, you can just get in a little bit more, like without taxing your lower back. The range is less, and you're also in a more upright position usually in a sumo pull. So yeah, I think you can definitely fit in both. Just has to be some degree of fatigue management at play, and then thinking about all your other back movements, especially if your lower back, is something that takes a while to recover. Then think about doing lower back loading that just falls on the deadlift day. If you're gonna do a pull day, so have like a pull A rotation where you do all your lower back loading in one day, and then the following leg day that's close to that, maybe do a hack instead of a back squat, and then when you roll that round into pull B and legs B, then pull B could be a non-lower back loading session, and then legs B could be where you place your back squat. So in that rotation setup, you're always allowing your lower back to start to recover before you go into the next one. And then I tend to I find that if I deadlift, my lower back DOMs, provided I don't get hurt, are always going to be 2 days after as opposed to the first day. And I've made actually quite significant progress. Some people may have followed me at that point from actually doing a deadlift on like the day before a squat day, which for some people just wouldn't work at all. But I'm able to somewhat seem to recover from that absolutely fine. And have generally no issues as long as I sort of keep it to those 2 sets. There's the doggo. You got some
birds outside. You don't like the
outside.
birds at the moment. Yeah, they're just sitting in the tree, not giving a fuck about him. He can't do nothing. Yeah.
Right.
No,
So
I agree.
should we do one more your end, one more my end, and then we'll wrap up because I'm on 14% battery as well now.
Okay.
I haven't got my charger.
Your opinions on fasted cardio and intermittent fasting? Much love, bro.
So intermittent fasting, I think is fine in a short time window. So I think that you can fast in between, like, so for example, push your first meal back and be fine as long as you get adequate MPS spikes throughout the day after that. So 4 or 5 protein feedings of high quality protein after that window. Then I think, what was the other question? Fasting?
Fasted cardio.
Oh, fasted cardio. I do think the fasted cardio combined with some supplements can definitely provide benefit from a fat loss perspective. But fasted cardio negates all its benefits, I think, or most of its benefits, when you don't combine fat loss supplements with that. So if you do your fasted cardio just fasted, all you're going to see is that you just get it done at a different time of day. You have lower blood sugar at that point in the day as well. So you may see some enhanced lipolysis in terms of fat burning in that window. But I think that you need to combine the fasted cardio with your him bean to actually start seeing some significant fat loss effects. So if we look at your him bean as a tool to start to mobilize fatty acids, if we combine that with low blood sugar, that's in that moment, that's where we're going to get some benefit. Also, if you want to increase the benefits of that even more so, you'd add maybe something that can aid the lowering of blood sugar. So you might take your himbine and a GDA before a fasted cardio session and benefit from all of those, and then actually see some significant changes that can come with that. But besides that, I think the reason why most people do fasted cardio is because they want to diminish the interference effect as great as possible. Okay, so in a phase where they're not doing cardio for fat loss. So, for example, for off-season cardiovascular health, you want to do it as far away from your weight training as possible. So, if you do it in the first thing in the morning, you train in the afternoon or mid-afternoon or evening, you're perfect because you're doing it as far away from your training bout as possible. So, in terms of affecting recovery or even performance in that session, you've perfected that process. So, bottom line is that you get your cardio done when you can get it done. Second tier to that is the interference effect. Third tier is fat loss supplements and fasted cardio. That's my thoughts. What's yours?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree with everything you said. In regards to the fasting, I still fast on my rest days till like midday. And that's just due to, especially in a surf, I like to give my gut a little bit of a break. Just little things. I mean, I'm productive in the morning when think about eating, it kind of puts me off. You know what I mean? Because I've got to kind of.
I personally don't eat until about 8:30 or 9. Usually, most mornings. I wake up at 7 every morning. So
I like to get like an hour upon wake. Kind of wake up because my appetite is never always the greatest first thing when I wake up.
No, I can't. Especially I don't understand how people eat when they get out of bed.
Yeah, and rest days. I spoke about this in my latest video. Is on my rest days, especially because I'm working from home. I have like an open kitchen now where I'm kind of sitting next to the kitchen, get very food focused. And what I do is it could be a case of me actually going out and doing my work elsewhere. But I push back my meals. I eat my first meal about 12 o'clock on a rest day. So I close my window down a little bit shorter so I can not stay as food focused and fit a lot more in a shorter window. And I find that works for me as well.
I think you can do that in prep. No issues, mate.
Absolutely, I totally agree.
I wouldn't have an issue with that one at all. I think that's a benefit, but I totally think that you need to stay busy when you're prepping because the food focus will go up. And to avoid your days being full of stress, thinking about when your next meal is, and you need to limit stress as much as possible.
Definitely.
It'll be a case of going out for walks and getting yourself in a coffee shop or something like that, just to mitigate it.
Yeah, definitely.
But
that answers that for me.
Cool. I think we'll leave it there as we're getting to an hour and my battery might die very soon. So,
yes, mate.
Yeah, guys, thank you very much for watching.
Yes, thank you.
If you've got any questions for me and George, leave them in the bottom below. And we'll chat to you soon.
Yeah, we will.
Peace out. See you in a bit.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.